ওয়েলকাম ব্যাক। আমাদের আলোচনা আমরা আবার শুরু করছি।
And she's growing up in North America, so she learns the rights of a female, kind of dignity and respect, and she's finding she's not having that. So naturally, she became rebel. And when she became rebel, and she's trying to, using all this kind of drugs, mixing with different peoples, which is not family approved because family has a strong approval things. If family approves, then it's normal behavior. If family doesn't approve, it's not normal behavior. That kind of thing. Too much of a restriction. So naturally, we found that daughter is also suffering from depression and for rigidity within the family, restriction within the family, and and religious bindings, and there is hardly any communications within the parents, and so naturally, it's a very difficult level of struggle. Everyone is suffering in that family. Everyone is depressed. Everyone is sad. Everyone is feel like what's going on in our life. We never thought about it. And when you are exploring those things, those areas, those conflict, many different variable in the family is very shocking. So, so the thing is, this is another process of immigrational journey. So because they're seeing they're different, they're expecting something in their own way, but what is happening in a very different way, and they have no idea why those things are happening within their daughter's behavior. So we intervene and we develop relationship with the daughter as well. We develop relationship with the family and kind of exploring these two different dimension of culture because the daughter is Indo-Canadian. Indo-Canadian and Indian or Pakistani or Bangladeshi is very different than Indo-Canadian. Because Indo-Canadian, for Indo-Canadian child is very difficult to understand what is Asian, South Asian culture.
Especially
So
if they were
they're
born here.
born here. So they're having very strong emotional culture. They're kind of roaming around with two different cultures, kind of right and wrong and all these things, many different information. And sometimes, often, the child has difficulty to assess which I should take, which I should not take, and all this because no one tell them exactly what should be, because there is no should be in human relationship.
Right.
Some of the behavior is kind of odd behavior which is not socially approved. uh, we can say odd behavior is not family approved, but many cases family doesn't approve. That doesn't mean it's odd behavior.
Right.
Many cases, some of the behavior is approved in North American society, but not approved in South Asian culture. So it's very different conflicts going on. So we intervene, and during intervention is a long process because slowly we are exploring and many different dimensions of their thought process and how much they can give, kind of release their, ego own and their own barrier. Because oftentimes we don't even know then how much we are prejudiced by our culture, by our religion. We have no idea, and we are thinking that is right, what the way we are thinking. But we don't understand which microscope we are using and selecting and creating the opinion, and we started believing that opinion it is true because we have seen our parents used to do. But that is all the time not true. And it's a huge conflicting relationship, huge traumatic environment, especially if a female, then is more restricted. So we often get these kind of cases, and we often get cases that children becoming very disrespectful to the parents, and parents, the way we grew up, we always restricted. We used to get beaten up. We used to get always hurt, kind of negative words about self. You don't know these things, and the next door neighbor used to know this because our culture approved comparison. And in North American culture, we hardly do comparison. If we have comparison, we kind of having parental training here. And in parental training, we oftentimes, we get a call from CAS and then all these people, kind of they picked up child from the home and they have no idea, the CAS people, what is the Asian culture, South Asian culture. And they take, oh, the child is abused, but their definition of abuse and our definition of abuse is two
Right.
different meanings and two different storyline. And so it's very, very frustrating. And for us also, it's very frustrating to work on in this type of areas, cases. So, but we work slowly. We're trying to get a meaning for the child life and what is meaningful to that child, specific child. And if it is a female child, dynamics is more complicated. And so we go in a different way. And at the same time, we deal with the parents in different. If we say the parents are wrong, they're not going to accept, although we are coming from the same culture.
Right.
But our training and the school we went to is very North American, but we also mixed in our South Asian culture values and values to make that culturally competent, you know. And we also give our step in a very cautiously, so that we're not going to make the parents, you know, angry. Oh, this place is not good for us. You know, this therapist cannot do any work for our children because the therapist is trying to say something which we don't want. So we balance in the both thing, and it's kind of creating it's difficult because, you know, people have different level of education, people have different level of awareness, and mostly we develop kind of educational opportunity and to know your kid first, and how do you know your child. And we use the, you know, Khalil Gibran, one of the big comments of that, when your child born came out from your womb, that's no longer is your child. It's a different identity. And that different identity growing up in a different culture, in a different country. So how you can go with that different kid, you brought him or her in this world, but you cannot demand the ownership the way we learned the ownership in back home. So that's kind of flexibility we try to create within the parents, and that kind of flexibility we're trying to create within the child, and how they can integrate more, how they can make the family relationship more meaningful and healthy way, so that everyone can feel happy. It's not a win-win situation. Win-win situation is very different. No one is fighting, and it's kind of no contradiction. It's not that. It's kind of what actually they are looking for: their child's mental health, or their own ego, which is trained and designed by their own culture of heritage or origin, and all these things. So it's a very complex works, and very enjoying work for us. And I deeply enjoy this kind of work, and creating a new person, and at the same time developing awareness. And as a human being is always a very complex social animal, and there is no one answer, and there is no right answer. It's a multiple truth, and many different truth. And some people say, because we are living, it's called postmodern culture. And postmodern culture values when people go to the temple, people go to the mosque or church, we cannot say that's meaningless.
Right.
But as long as the person is not getting fanatic by their specific religion,
Right.
we cannot say the person, we can talk to the person in a meaningful way,
Right.
but at the same time can bring different perspective.
Right.
And sometimes we listen to the person who is very religious and using their religion as a tool
Right.
for healing process.
Okay. Roger,
Thank you.
thank you very much for joining
You're
us at
welcome.
the studio today. You had some great information, and you had some really great insights as to the complexities of and the dynamics of families and
Thank you.
the human being. So I'd like to thank you for that.
Thank you, Julie. It's nice talking to you after a long time. You know, and you have some wonderful questions, and it's allowed me to think, and after a long time.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
আপনাদের কাছ থেকে আজকে বিদায় নিচ্ছি। আমাদের সাথে থাকুন, আবার দেখা হবে।